Now a closer look at the unnerving amount of contraband being uncovered at Denver International Airport. Earlier, we told you about the 3 loaded guns confiscated in just one day last week at DIA security. But you probably didn't know about the machete or the stun gun. Fox 31's Jeremy Hubbard has the story you'll see only on Fox. Jeremy?
Ron, some 52 million people pass through DIA every year, and they're still bringing all kinds of dangerous stuff with them. We were given an exclusive look at the TSA stockpile of banned items and a tour of the Denver area warehouse where the contraband is sorted and sold to people like you to help Uncle Sam pay the bills. Surprises don't happen here very often. These TSA agents have seen pretty much everything. But this was a surprise.
It puts a big lump in your throat, and you're trying to make sure that that's actually what you're seeing.
Thankfully, this pair of grenades somebody tried to get through airport security turned out to be replicas. This, however, was all too real.
Looks just like a cell phone, talks like a cell phone, but in actuality, it is a taser.
That's right, a stun gun made to look like a smartphone, discovered at a DIA checkpoint just a few weeks back. 9/11 may have been a long time ago, but dangerous contraband is still common.
Well, it looks like a homemade type of an item.
Gate agents showed us the stockpile of the most unusual items they've amassed here at Denver International Airport alone. A crate full of weapons, tools, and toys that appear dangerous and all too often are.
It looks like a small torch.
Here they've taken in everything from martial arts weapons to blades made to look like credit cards.
Forms into a knife with a handle on it.
And it gets worse. In the last few weeks, at least 5 people have come to Denver checkpoints with loaded guns. And just last week, some 30 guns were discovered at airport checkpoints nationwide, 26 of them loaded. A few weeks back, a traveler in Honolulu tried to sneak a pistol through security by cloaking it in a hollowed-out book.
Some people just don't think.
The most dangerous outlawed items are turned over to police. The rest of it winds up at places like this, a General Services Administration warehouse at the federal complex in Lakewood, where they get a lot of stuff. How much?
It probably maybe 3.5 tons a year.
This collection is just from the last couple months. Items surrendered at airports across the western U.S. And it's even further proof that people will try to get anything on board a plane. Aside from the pocket knives by the thousands, the scissors and hunting weapons.
Kershaw hunting knives, we'll see those quite often.
There are boxes full of box cutters. Then there are the brass knuckles, the explosive propane tanks, the razor-sharp saw blades. And oh yeah, this machete someone recently tried to board a plane with.
It looks like it was recently sharpened, too.
Yeah, that's sharp right there. Yeah, that's real sharp. So why exactly do people keep doing this?
I don't know. I really don't have an answer.
But believe it or not, something good comes from these surrendered items. They actually help the government pay its bills. Workers here at this warehouse sort, bundle, and bag these items and sell them online to the highest bidder. It's Uncle Sam's version of eBay, with the money being used to buy new supplies for the federal government. Need 100 pocket knives, some extra potato peelers, or pizza cutters? They're for sale to the highest bidder. And it's cheaper than you think. This stuff often goes for just 10 to 20% of its retail value. Of course, ideally, they wouldn't have to do this in the first place. Ideally, we'd all pay attention to the rules. But because common sense isn't exactly in surplus, their work here never seems to stop. A stunning amount of stuff there. If you'd like to look at some of those confiscated items and perhaps even place a bid on a bag of pocket knives or some of that other stuff, you can check out the GSA's auction website. We have a link to it on our website, KDVR.com. Sales of this stuff add up to tens of thousands of dollars for the government every year. There's a lot of question about whether this stuff should be confiscated in the first place, though. Just last week, just this week, actually, the former head of the TSA said, look, we should stop. This system's broken. Let's stop messing around with knives and stuff that can't get through the door of a cockpit. Let's worry about guns and bombs and that sort of thing. Stop taking away this petty stuff.
Let me ask you what you asked that gentleman in the piece, because he really didn't give you an answer. Why do you think people are trying to get so much of this through.
Most of it, I think, is actually innocent. A lot of construction workers are flying, and maybe they haven't flown for a while. They didn't know you can't bring this stuff. And still, believe it or not, there are people who haven't flown since 9/11 who aren't privy to some of these rules and don't know that you can't
Except
bring
for maybe
this.
the gun that was hidden in the book.
There is that.
And the machete. I don't know.
Yeah,
The brass knuckles.
The brass knuckles.
Interesting. Jeremy,
Crazy.
thanks.